The Whose Turn Is It Anyway podcast is live this year at the UK Games Expo. You can check us out on Friday the 31st of May at 1:30 to 2:30 in the Dice Room, which is in Piazza 4. If you want to get involved in the live episode, then please come along. We can't wait to see you there.
Hello and welcome to Whose Turn Is It Anyway, a podcast all about our board game group and the board games that we play. I am your first player, Adrian, and I have with me, we are what we are because we have been who we have been. That's Sigmund Tambo.
Hello.
Knowledge rests not upon truth alone, but upon error also. Carl Gustav JP.
Howdy there.
And if you only have a hammer, you tend to see every problem as a nail. Becky Maslow.
Oh God. Hi everyone.
So today we are back to the couch to talk about Great Hexpectations Part 2. But before we get there, how's everyone doing?
Super good. It's bank holiday weekend, right? Been nice
as
and
we
chill.
Record, yes.
As we record, not when you listen to this timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly podcast stuff. But yeah, enjoying a nice kind of chill weekend, to be honest.
Yeah, I've had a nice weekend. Nice and, lots of chilling out and not doing a lot of anything useful.
Yeah, same here. Bit of board gaming as well over the weekend, which was good.
Good.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's been all right
to talk about, so
yep.
It helps.
It helps.
I thought it was gardening. Is this not the gardening podcast?
Reicholt. No, that's...
Yeah, Reicholt.
That's Icelandic.
That's Icelandic greenhousing.
Greenhousing, yeah.
Greenhousing.
That green hosiery. I don't know. What do you call it?
I don't know.
Who knows? We've gone off a tangent again, haven't we?
We've already gone off on a tangent.
Yeah.
It's all good. With that, it's time to talk about you and me and all the good things and the bad things that have been as we talk about Hex.
Love it. It never gets old, mate.
Does it not?
No.
Good. I'm glad because I'm going to...
Because you're never not going to do it, are you? You're always going to do it.
Yeah, that's it.
Good. The only one in the whole podcast team that does a little sexy intro to that segment.
Yeah. But when we came up with the name, it was like, that's exactly what it is.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah.
So JP, what have you been up to? What have you been playing recently?
So recently I had my birthday. Obviously you guys all came around and celebrated and had a really good time. Well, hopefully you did. I did. I had a great time. And after that, I went away for a kind of a little weekend break with the family. So obviously it's an excuse to get lots of board games together and inflict them onto the family. So one of the games I actually got for my birthday was a small box game called Avant Carde. So like Avant Garde. And it's art themed around you collecting artwork. Nothing like the gallerist at all. Looking at you, Adrian. But you kind of collect this artwork and you kind of show it off to basically get lots of money to then purchase more art that you can put into collection, and away you go. But mechanically, it's a deck building Uno. That's what you need to think about. It's beautifully presented. Like the box that kind of opens up, you take a little tuck box of the main cards, and then you open it up. It doesn't open like from the top like a normal tuck box. It opens from the side, and you kind of then roll it out onto the table, and all the cards are there ready to rock. All kind of, it's just the way, it's hard to explain, but you kind of roll it all out. There you go, done. And you've got like all the 2s, 3s, 4, 5s, and 6, 7s all ready to go. And then you've got another set of cards in another tuck box, and it does the same thing. Roll it all out, and they're like the patrons, and not patrons. They're the patrons, and they all have different powers that you can basically tell you what all the numbered cards do, and they're variable in the game, so you can kind of mix and match and have a bit of a difference. So yeah, you kind of have a starting deck. It has like a 1 and a 2, which is like a white and a grey, and you've got some 11s and 12s that are kind of 2 main colours in your starting decks. That could be one of the 4 suits that are available. And you kind of like in Uno style trying to play a run. So you're either matching the same number of different colours, or you can play a number of the same colour. And you're trying to kind of get as many cards played out of your hand as possible. The more cards you play, the more money you're generating, which is then what you use to buy more cards. And then into the deck they go. And then all of the 2s to 7 cards that you buy will have the powers that can trigger off that do different things, wacky things like generate you more money, allow you to draw more cards, allow you to change like a 4 to either any number of the same colour or the same number of any colour. And it's a bit like, oh my God, this is breaking my brain. But for such a small box game, and it plays in 20 minutes, and it's got that kind of Uno feel, very easy to kind of wheel out to your family. I really enjoyed it. And it's just, I don't know, it kind of did something a little bit different to like, I've played Uno so much. But it kind of has that, but with a little bit of deck building flair. Oh yeah, I thought it was really good.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Me and Curly have got like a running tally on our kitchen noteboard of who's winning at Uno.
Okay.
We haven't actually played for a long time, but that one sounds like it could be a contender to get rid of Uno. Mate.
Who's winning?
Who do you think's winning?
Oh, right, okay.
Come on, Becky.
Yeah, come on.
I know.
Got to take a shot here, mate. Take them down.
Uno's not my strong point. None of the games are, clearly.
What about strong point? Is that your strong point?
Yeah, do you know, I think I normally win Curly at strong point. I mean, I'm not saying I win the game, but I think I probably get more than he does.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah, I think you're right. Actually, yeah, strong point. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that game.
I'm going to bring it to Expo because it's quite a nice filler game. You can just wheel it out, play, job done. But yeah, I think some of you guys might enjoy it. It's not overly serious. It's good fun. It's got a nice little catch-up mechanic in there as well. So if you're kind of losing, the idea is that you're trying to get these awards. So if you generate $6, i.e. played at least 6 cards or have abilities that allow you to get $6, you can pick up an award. So if you get 8, you can get 2 awards, and 10, you get 3. And the idea is this award deck, when that runs out, ends the game. And you're just trying to get as many of those as possible. So it's quite simple, quite straightforward. But yeah, recommend it. It's good fun.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds, as you say, it sounds like a family, like one that will be good to roll out for families and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I know like Cabitos was one of your sort of big wins a little while ago, and it sounds sort of similar-ish weight to that, but kind of the opposite end of, instead of rolling dice, doing a bit of deck building instead.
Yeah. Yeah, just all cards and fun.
Nice.
And Becky, what have you been up to?
Well, it's not a board game, but it is kind of linked. So, been playing a lot of Walkabout Golf. What a game. Oh my goodness, it's just so good. It's the most realistic game, I think, that I've played in VR. Okay, maybe slashing boxes as they come towards you in Beat Saber isn't perhaps very realistic, but
It's fun though.
yeah, it's great. But walking around with your little golf club thing, crazy little, setups, just like a crazy golf that you do on holiday or whatever. Oh God, I love it. I just love it. It's so fun. And me and Curly are quite well matched on it. So he beat me by 1 point earlier, and I was livid because I'd done so well all the way through, and then I naffed it and was gutted. But this game. So if you've got VR, I would hugely recommend that you get Walkabout Golf.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Even if you don't like golf, I'm not a massive actual golf in real life person. Only crazy golf a little bit, but this is just so good. It's so fun, and the courses are really cool. Like there's one in space. There's like a piratey one, so obviously I'm all for that one. And yeah, you can pick up like lost balls, which you get like cool patterned balls later on when you play. You can get better I was going to say sticks, clubs, what they're called,
Putters.
There you go, those
The stick.
the sticks you hit the balls with, them things. Yeah, you can get cool patterned ones. So yeah, loving it, absolutely loving that game.
Yeah, it's such good fun. We got a VR for my son, a MetaQuest 3, and it's the first game we bought on it because everyone recommends get Walkabout Mini Golf.
Yeah.
So unoffensive as a game. It's chill. It's easy to play. You can, drop in for a course on by yourself or whatever. But we recently started playing as a group, right? Which has kind of reinvigorated my love for the game as well. So that's been a lot of fun.
It's really brightly coloured. I don't know. It's just like you were saying earlier. You go to lean on something because it's you feel like you're there.
Yeah.
You really feel like that. It doesn't take up much room, and you don't need a very big area to play in either because what you're doing basically standing there hitting a ball. You can kind of transport around the map, so you don't need to walk around there. So I think even if you've only got a very small area to play in, this game will absolutely be brilliant for you because it's just great.
Yeah, I think my favourite moment is that we played the other night, and Adrian, you can see basically when you're playing with other players, you just see this head and their putter
floating about,
floating around. It's really weird. And then I watched it and I just saw Adrian just fly upwards. I was like, how the hell are you doing that? And he's like, oh, you just put her in the air and you press up on the stick and you hold it, and then suddenly you're just like Superman. And weirdly, when I did it, I put my left hand on my hips. So I literally had one hand up in the air like Statue of Liberty, the other one on my hips, just Supermaning it up. It's brilliant.
Nice.
Yeah. It's great fun.
I'm keen to show you guys Meow Wolf.
Oh, I've downloaded that one.
The course, because it's just so trippy. You talk about it kind of feeling a bit cartoony and a bit normal, but it's so trippy. A couple of spoilers on a couple of the different they're all completely bonkers. But like there's one where you're one side of a pond and the hole is on the other side of a pond. And you're like, there's no way, it's too far away to get in one shot. But the ball bounces above and below the pond until it gets to the other side. But your brain can't quite figure out what's going on with it. There's another one where your golf ball turns into about a football-sized thing, and then you start trying to putt that.
Oh, God. Right.
There's one where you start putting and the ball moves to being on the roof.
Oh, my.
But you're still on the floor.
So you've got to somehow...
No, you putt as though the ball is on the floor, but it only moves above you.
My God.
It's fantastic for taking that idea of mini golf and then really what could we do with VR. Just launched. It's probably the first one that really launched it to me that I played, that I was like, yeah, you couldn't do this in... There's a couple of holes in the other ones that you're like, you wouldn't do this in real life. No. But this was, you couldn't do this in real life.
No, physically.
Yeah.
Physics just doesn't work.
And absolutely fantastic. I had a blast playing that course as well, just because it's so crazy. What about yourself, Tambo?
Okay, so just yesterday it was, wasn't it? JP, Curly and I played Dinogenics.
Yeah, hurrah, dinosaurs.
But really good. Curly asked me to watch a video beforehand if I could, and I thought, no problem, I'd try it, because I don't mind videos, to be fair. And I just looked at it, and when I watched it, I just thought, this is tiny epic dinosaurs, but a lot bigger and a bit more involved. So I'm going to really like this.
Just big epic dinosaurs.
Big epic dinosaurs. Yeah. It's just like Jurassic Park. You're your own Jurassic Park owner, and you're here to build your own park, get the visitors in, put them in hotels, make sure your dinos are all caged up. And obviously, the more dinosaurs you get, obviously, the better your VP generation is. And it was great fun, I thought. It was good fun. Worker placement, which is always one of my favorites. It was really successful. You have DNA cards, so you're there just to breed your dinosaurs. So you make a set of 3 T-Rexes, for instance, and then you can just put it in go to the science, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it was called.
The Dinogenics lab.
Dinogenics labs. Mm-hmm. You go in there and you can make a T-Rex, but you've got to make sure you got your park ready for it. And obviously, the bigger the dinosaur, generally the more VPs it generates. You have reputation track, which is all about the first player, which we found out was very important with JP. We wasn't sure what the reputation was all about until you start playing it, and how important it was to get first player. You get more visitors, so the more visitors you get, obviously you get more. You get first dibs on them basically, and then they give you VPs and money at the end of the game. Between seasons actually, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so we figured out that was quite important. And I flew up in reputation at the beginning, and then Curly went behind as always, and then he just went ahead with the reputation. And then, as always,
we didn't see him, did we? After that, he was like, "Where's he gone on the VP track? He's disappeared. He's gone around the corner twice. He's gone. Yeah, we had the expansion with it as well, which was all about the water dinosaurs. It's probably a real good term for that. I can't remember what it is. Aquatic dinos.
Aquatics? I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows? We're not dino experts, are we, T?
No, we're not. No. But that gave you a wild symbol, which was the main part that really helped you get dinosaurs to your park. Because if you're trying to get 3 cards of T-Rex, you need 3 matching T-Rexes, you could get 2 with the wild token. You can put out dinosaurs a lot more easier, which made it easier. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. But I'll definitely want to play it again. Because after that, I was talking what I would have done differently. And a game like that always makes you want to play it again.
Yeah, it's got the really cool dino meeples in it, and actually because there's a lot of different species that you can go after. I'm no dino nerd. You know how much Curly loves his dino fetishy dino stuff that we talked about on the pod before. He loves it. So you got your traditional raptors and your T-Rexes and your pteranodons and etc. And then all these other dinosaurs I've not heard of, but they're real. That apparently, I don't know, they've got 4 legs and scales. Who knows?
I know some of the pictures from Jurassic Park, but I can't remember the names of them.
No.
Yeah.
That's how it works. But there's loads of little meeples, right? And in the expansion, the Control Chaos expansion, there's loads more aquatic megalodons and all sorts of stuff. But Yeah, and you have to kind of keep the carnivores fed, otherwise they get a bit pissed off, right?
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. I do if I don't get fed. You have to get goats.
Yeah, the goat people. That's the
Get
best bit about it.
Yeah,
Goats, little goats.
Feed them the old goats, keep them at bay. But yeah, it has a little. I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah,
and we had a little moment, didn't we, T?
Yeah.
Where
the chance part of it.
Yeah, the less Eurofied part of this game, which is more you could call it thematic, because it probably is quite thematic in that we had an event.
Thematic in the real life of dinosaurs?
In the real life of dinosaur
Yeah.
breeding and park management. There's basically an event queue that kind of comes out, these breaking news cards, and you can kind of see what's upcoming and what's going to fire in the next round. So we knew that if you had a herbivore and a carnivore together in your park, they're going to get a bit narky and start
a rampage, as they call. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we haven't seen the rampage mechanic, because that would normally happen if you don't feed your carnivore dinosaurs. Quite rightly, they get hangry, right? And there's other effects that can
If they escape the barriers, or the barriers are not properly, or you not put them in barriers properly, or stuff like that.
Yeah, if one of your barriers is broken and you haven't fixed it, it will run around your park and start murdering people, likely. So we basically had this thing. We all rolled the dice. It affected us all, and I think you rolled it, T.
Yep.
All it did broke a fence.
Yep.
Curly rolled it, broke a fence. I rolled it, and then
broke a fence,
broke a fence, killed 2 visitors,
Yeah.
and then ended up with these 2 tokens that are worth -6 VPs each. So it was like, great. So it's one of those things, like, thematically, I get it, but it doesn't make you feel good.
No.
Because it's like, dice roll, oh, you're screwed. kind of thing. But
It was unfortunate, because it's the last season that happened as well.
Yeah.
Well, the penultimate season, wasn't it? So you didn't have time to fix it.
No. It was like, I've got to spend my entire last round just trying to get rid of this. And of course, worker placement, people are blocked. And like, So yeah, it's one of those little moments where I actually enjoyed the game mechanically. It's simple to play, worker placement.
Really simple.
But yeah, just that little bit of dice chucking. And you think, maybe done that in a different way. But it is what it is. But I would play it again.
So you said -6 VP. Is that your reputation track?
No. The victory points is the dinosaur victory points. Reputation track is different.
So does having your visitors eaten not also decrease your reputation, or just your VP?
No, it just gives you -6 VP token.
You get a scoundrel token.
Right.
Yeah,
So the more naughty things you do in the game, because you can go to this place called the Boneyard, and you can pick up DNA cards that fall off the market. So if you for free, you don't have to pay for them. But if you get them, you kind of get a scoundrel as well. So there are different ways of getting scoundrel tokens. But it's a bit like the corruption in Waterdeep. Easy to get.
But there's a penalty.
But if you keep hold of them, you probably don't want them. You need to get rid of them.
There is a spot on the board where you can get rid of 1 scoundrel token. So it's quite easy to get rid of them as well.
Yeah.
So it's not the end of the world. So you've got to just time it right.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But it was good fun.
It was great fun.
But yeah, maybe in my head I was thinking it would be more than what it was.
That's kind of how Curly felt. He was so excited. Understandably, it's dinosaurs, it's his thing. He's like, this is going to be, I reckon this is going to be in my top 10 games.
Yeah.
Just looking at it, I'm popping it and stuff. And then when he came back, he was like, yeah, it's really good, but it didn't really live up to expectation. But to be honest, I don't know if it could have lived up to expectation, because he was so stoked about it. But I asked him, is it going to be in your top 10? And he was like, nah, I don't think so. But it's a really good game. So I think perhaps he just really was looking forward to it, and then it wasn't quite as good as he thought.
I think what we're after is Dinosaur Island has some excellent parts to it, and it has some parts that aren't as fun. And it's the same with this. And I actually think out of the two, I prefer Dinogenics as a game. But I just wish they kind of amalgamated some of the bits together and actually made a super epic dinosaur game that did what it's trying to do, because it still feels like it's missing something for me. But no, I didn't hate it. I thought it was a good time. I think if you treat that game as maybe what it's intended for, which is a bit of a laugh, things might go wrong. Don't take it too seriously, and just, it's about bloody dinosaurs at the end of the day. I think, it is what it is.
Yeah,
But,
definitely.
yeah.
I was going to make a joke about if the marine expansion allowed you to drown the dinosaurs you didn't want, like in Ark Nova. But
No, T kept feeding his dinosaurs to his other dinosaurs to get victory
that's
points.
what you do.
That's what you do. It's a good VP generator, it was.
Life will find a way.
All right, Ian. Malcolm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not. It's Hammond, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, move on.
How about you, Adrian?
So recently I finally got Moon to the table by Sinister Fish Games. So Moon came out last Expo, pretty much. And it's the final one, to the best of my knowledge, of what I'm going to call the long box games from Sinister Fish Games. So they've produced Villagers, Streets, and Moon. And these are games that come in like a very long, thin box that I actually really like. I wish they were very slightly wider because it doesn't seem to matter what they've done with it. The box, it's just a little bit too thin to fit all the components in, and I just wish that, bearing in mind that you can't fit 4 of them side by side on a Kallax, you can only fit 3 anyway. It felt like they could have put just a little bit more width on it to get everything in the box nicely. But apart from that, all of the games I've really enjoyed. Villagers was really strong early doors and really enjoyed playing that. You're kind of drafting from a river of cards to build up your village, and you kind of need to unlock certain professions. So you have to unlock the woodworker before you can start making wheels and beds and stuff like that in your little village. And it's got 2 rounds of scoring. And then Streets was a little bit more of tile placement. Again, it's the idea of you building up your modern day neighborhood. And once you've fulfilled a street, everyone there gets FOMO and moves on to other streets that you then need to fill up. And so kind of things become worth more because of meeples getting FOMO, which is actually what it's called in the game, and moving other places. And then Moon is kind of the next part of that. So you've built up your medieval village, then you've built up your city streets, and now you've got a moon base that you're building up. And it kind of takes a little bit from like card drafting. So you've got that sort of Seven Wonders-esque bit mixed in with the original Villagers. So you've got 3 phases. You get a handful of cards. And one of the things it does slightly differently is that each hand has an era card in it, which is like a special ability or a permanent change to the hand. So it might be, if you buy anything from this that produces stuff, you have to pay extra for it, or you pay less for it, or you get an extra. So as the hand goes round, you'll see that era card come back round a couple of times. They just give you little one-off abilities, which I don't think I've seen that in other drafting games where that hand always has a permanent ability attached to it. So you draft that, and then in between each phase, as you play something, if it's got production, you produce it automatically, but between each phase, you produce everything on your production. And then there's flag. In order to build like a superhighway, you have to have road flags, like 3 road flags before. So you're kind of just building up flags and production to then build these massive things that are worth victory points at the end. And I really enjoyed it. But
I knew there's a but.
Yeah. Those era cards at 2-player are really swingy. And because you see them every other turn, you can be stuck constantly seeing a rubbish hand that you can't really draft well from. And if someone else gets just the good card straight off the other hand, and you've got the one with the naff era card in it, it feels a bit like it's missing something. And I feel like, I haven't played it at 3 or 4 players yet, but I feel like at 3 or 4 players it will actually get rid of that. But I think it's not as good a 2-player game as Villagers or Streets. But I feel like it's probably at 3 or 4 players going to really compete with Villagers. Streets is fine, but it's definitely the weaker of the set for me personally. I know there's people out there who feel differently, but for me it's the weaker of the 3. But they're all good games that I really like and are quite sort of easy to travel with. And they all feel quite similar despite doing different things. So the first one is much more about sequencing, getting drafting off of this river of cards. The next one is drafting, like you get cards into a hand of cards, like you get these street tiles into your hand, and then you're playing those to try and block other people and stop them getting what they need. And then Moon is drafting, like more typical drafting, so you still hate draft off of people and you still kind of pull the cards you need and want. So it kind of feels like they all have a very similar feeling, but they do them so different enough that I'd absolutely keep all 3.
Nice.
So they've done, I think Sinister Fish Games has done a fantastic job of giving you 3 games, a bit like the Century series, that feel similar. They're a similar weight, they have similar vibes, but different enough mechanics that you'd keep all 3 of them.
It's like a DNA thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they've done a really good job of that. And I know that they're moving away from that box size at the moment, but I really hope at some point they feel like revisiting it and doing another trilogy or something, because again, we talk about games per Kallax. You can stack these on top of them and you could actually get 9 games in a Kallax, which is quite space efficient, and they just produce that nice little puzzle. And I think it restricts them from adding too many mechanisms, which I think can be quite a common problem, where I feel like that's a good game and then they've added this random extra set of tracks on it and added this. I felt like it's restricted them a little bit into that design space, a bit like the Tiny Epic games. You know, I feel like they're restricted by the box size a little bit, and I think they've done a great job of working around that as the games have gone on with Tiny Epic, but it feels like it restricts them to how much they can fit into that box. And I think it's exactly the same with Sinister Fish games. So quite looking forward to seeing them at Expo this year.
Nice, yeah. I've only ever played Villagers. I know I enjoyed that game, actually. Not played Streets, not played Moon. So
yeah, I think Moon will be one that definitely would get to the table and play. And say, I'm happy to play Streets. It's just not the one I'd put in front of person next after Villagers.
Yeah. Right.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Happy days.
Happy days. Hex over.
So we've just had a little bit of stoppage time because it started raining. So like the cricket, we've all sort of ran off the pitch. And we're now back on. So you might hear a bit of rain in the background, but hopefully you don't. And then this just gets edited out anyway. And so with that, we're on to our main turn, where we're going to be talking about our great hexpectations and when they've possibly been let down or just not quite what we were hoping for. I'm going to kick off with Tambo. So what great hexpectation did you have that didn't quite live up?
I'm going to go back to a real old school one. Batman Talisman. And I bought it and I thought the family are going to love this. My niece and nephew, we're going to have a great time playing it. And I put it on, I love Batman. Who doesn't love Batman, right?
Love it. I'm Batman.
Batman. And then
he's got a cape.
Oh, he's got a
Becky.
cape. Okay, fine. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
You were born to the darkness.
So
Brush, Mr. Right. Sorry, we're just doing our really shit Bane impressions. I love it.
anyway, so basically, in a quick one, it's a roll of dice movement game. Play cards, sort of quick board. And there's 3 levels of the Arkham Asylum. You're actually the villains, not the Batman. You're actually the villains. And I thought, well, this is simple. I know we're going to love it. And then 3 hours later, we're still rolling on the first level.
3 hours later.
One of us might be on the second level, but then it was just roll, do one thing, do it again, do another thing. And I thought, yeah, this isn't. I think I could see the frustration on my brother-in-law's and my sister's face, bless them. They're like, this is going to be over soon. No. So
No.
it's one of those games where I thought I liked the look of it, and I thought it was going to be great fun for the whole family, and it turned to be a bit of a job. Yeah, a bit of a chore to get the game done, and it hasn't hit the table again since.
And that's my memory of Talisman. And I think anyone I've spoken to that played Talisman about the same time as I was playing it, sort of 15 years ago, 20 years ago even maybe, whenever it was that was it. It was just going around in circles. But at the time, there wasn't a lot of competition out there for it, whereas now there's a load of competition for it.
Yeah. Like I said, I love the figures are really brilliant. I love the figures in it. The art of the cards, and it's a good idea. With the Batman coming down, you move him, and he shoots down, and he attacks us and stuff. But it was just, it was really painful, and unfortunately, I'm still on my shelf though, so I've still got it. I might try it again.
Is that where you play as the villains?
Yes, it's the villains. So you're the villains trying to get to the actual core of the prison to escape.
Arkham Asylum, is it?
Yeah. And Batman's there just trying to stop you, basically. And you can move Batman when you roll a certain amount of dice. For what I can remember, because it's been ages since I played it, you get to move Batman in to stitch other people up.
Yes.
And then stuff like that. So, but that's a shame, really. I was quite excited about it. Yeah. And then it was just like, nah.
And Batman has failed you.
Yeah, it did fail me.
So I think, well, you're just talking then, T, and I was thinking, you love Batman. And I was thinking about Gotham City Chronicles.
Yeah.
And I know the games that you really love. You love that kind of action, beat dudes up on the board and all that kind of stuff. And I know it's quite heavy, and Adrian used to have this. We talked about this ages ago on the pod, didn't we? But Gotham City Chronicles might be your Batman game that you might enjoy if you can put the time in to learn the bugger.
Yeah, it's one of those where I wouldn't put it in front of a family, whereas Talisman, as long as it goes on.
That's the good thing about Talisman, right? It's
accessible.
And it's easy to put on the table and play.
Whereas Gotham City Chronicles is really thinky crunchy, and you can add time on it. One of my pet hates of it was the time was so short that you couldn't just go and beat up a few villains because you felt like being Batman or Red Hood or whatever. You had to go straight to the targets and do them as efficiently as possible, and that was kind of part of the puzzle. But yeah, it's not quite as accessible as Talisman. And as you've said, they've done like a Harry Potter version as well, and they've done...
There's quite a few, isn't there?
I think they've done 40k Talisman. They've called it something else, but I'm pretty sure it's 40k Talisman as well, because obviously Talisman was originally produced by the old Games Workshop production lot, if I remember correctly. So the production values really come along, and it looks really good on the table. But yeah, if it plays anything like I remember Talisman, I can't imagine it being much improved. I can't imagine them having done anything radical to the gameplay to really bring it forward into 20 years in
that's
from
it.
where it was originally
old
produced.
school, isn't it?
It's like Hero
Too old
Quest,
school,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yep.
Like you play it, I think people play it to feel a bit more nostalgic rather than to have a new game that's cool.
I remember though, when you played, say, Monopoly as a kid, playing it for 3 hours was fine.
Yeah.
Like looking back, that just sounds like the worst thing ever. Play Monopoly for 3 hours. Oh crikey, no thank you. But back then, like Adrian, you were saying, there wasn't really the competition. So finding a game that you could play for 3 hours, well, that was Sunday afternoon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So maybe we've just got, not just us particularly, but I don't want to sound like the kind of social media naysayers, nobody's got concentration anymore, but maybe we're just more refined as a nation for games. Like we're just like, no, I don't want to play something the same for 3 hours. I want, improvements or upgrades, or because that's the kind of games we play on our phones, and every other game you level up to a thing. Maybe we're just not prepared to accept same for 3 hours now, whereas before we sort of did, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, I definitely did.
Getting deep on this couch, aren't we?
Really?
I did forget. I think I forgot that a roller move mechanic is actually really painful.
Yeah.
And I kind of brought it back as well. Actually, this is actually really painful.
Yeah.
So I didn't do roller move mechanics when I was younger. It's like now I've got a game, the Talisman. It's like
It never bothered you when you were young. You're just like, oh no, yeah, I'm a dwarf and I've moved 17 spaces. Ooh. And like I say, I'm an elf and I've moved one. There's no thematic reason, just because, but it was fine.
Yeah.
We didn't know any better, though, I think. And like you said, the choice wasn't there. The pedigree and the design and the years that have gone into gaming to refine and improve upon those mechanics, we are spoilt for choice now. Yeah. There's just so much from the breadth of different games accessible to families or die-hard, crunchy nonsense or whatever you kind of want. It's there, isn't it? So, but yeah, I think when you go back to an old mechanic, you just kind of go, ugh. Yeah. Not for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you've been through that experience and you've lived it and you've kind of understood what perhaps wasn't up to expectation. Was there anything positive you took out of the experience? Was there anything you took away?
Well, got the family together, didn't it? We played 3 hours and we managed, got the niece and nephew not on their iPads or anything. So it was going to be that.
That's always a win, man.
Yeah, like I say, as a Batman fan, the actual story to it and the actual idea of it is really good.
Nice.
Yeah. And like I say, the actual figures are actually really, if you like your figures, if you like your details, they're really good. It was just a bit disappointing. I'm not saying I won't play again. I think we'll try it again, yeah, definitely. I haven't played in a group. I actually should have always tried and put an event up, but again, it's not everyone's cup of tea. And I think you need players for this as well. You need at least probably minimum of 4.
Yeah.
You've not sold it to me, T.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. No, so there's no point putting in a group now. So
I don't think I'll be signing up for that one, T.
No.
Do you want to play this game that I really didn't enjoy? Yeah,
For
go on.
3 hours.
Go on, give it a go. Somebody talk about the podcast, isn't it? Come on.
Go on. Actually, I will play it then.
Yeah,
If
I'll
you put
play it
on,
with you, mate.
I'll play it.
I'll play. I don't mind.
Right. So
Anyway, Tambo, get off the couch.
Yeah.
before we actually get into psychiatrist territory. So Becky, tell us about an experience you've had.
So this is, I'm in two minds. It was a disappointment, but that's not because it's a disappointing game. So it's Dog Park New Tricks.
Ooh, I thought you might have mentioned
I
that.
know.
What?
No, see, I really liked it. I liked what it does to the improvements it makes. The dogs are beaut. The cards are great. It's everything I like. The boards, you've got even more little meeples now. One of the little dog meeples has got wheels instead of back legs. So it's brilliant.
Oh,
I know. And like I say, the artwork, I really like it. The thing it does is it makes it a bit better of a game.
So basically, you got to think more.
Yeah.
So it makes more a bit of a think tank.
Yeah.
You mean I might like it now?
Yeah. So it's good for it's probably good for other people, but I liked it as a let's just play a game with cute little dogs. There's no real thinking necessarily. Yeah, you might be aiming to get more of one type than another because you get more points for this or that. But it was just a mindless, nicely mindless kind of chill. Yeah, I'm not going to put anything very heavy into this. It's just a pottering around a park, picking up octopus toys and picking up balls and bones and things. It's great. But now there's actually some skill and some tactics involved, which doesn't actually improve the game. It does. It's fundamentally a better game now, I think. It now plays 5 players.
Yes.
So it's done nothing but improve the game, I have to say. But for me, I liked the fact I could introduce this to someone who didn't really understand game mechanics. So, you know, Curly's mum, for example, she really likes dogs. I thought she's going to like this game, and she did like it. And yes, there is a little bit of strategy, as in each little dog has got powers.
Yeah.
Not, you know, magic powers. But, you know, like they might be, whenever you pick a ball up, pick up another one, whatever.
Yeah, well, that's what the tricks does, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the tricks makes it
harder
more
because each dog gives every dog an ability that learns the trick.
Yeah.
So you can get an engine going now.
You can. And I'm not very good at that. Yes, see, everyone's more excited. I was thinking, I'm actually going to have to be bothered now. I'm actually going to have to invest a bit of tiny bit of brain. And that's what I liked about just regular dog park. It's just dogs. It's just cute. You're wandering around a park. It very, very low stakes. You know, I'm not going to win anyway because I'm playing against Curly, so that's always irrelevant. But now,
would he have an engine of loads of balls and
of course
trees?
he did. He had a ball collecting engine for whatever it was.
He's always got a ball engine. Curly
He'd done something.
Always.
But now there is a potential that he could get maybe not 500 points, but you know, loads, and I might still be pottering around 20 or something. And that's whereas before it was just ploddy. Now it's actually thinky. So absolutely improved the gameplay. 100% recommend buying Dog Park New Tricks if you've got regular Dog Park. But for me, it's made me less likely to want to play it.
That's interesting.
It's also made the park better because you've got these tokens you put on the park, so you get more resources now in the park.
Yeah, it's done nothing but improve the game.
It's
absolutely 100% improved the game. But for me, I just wanted a bit of mindless, cute dog playing, not really having to focus. Now you have to think about it a bit more, which is totally a pro. Mm-hmm. Definitely good for the game. But I just wanted boring.
So as your stand-in pretend board game therapist, I'm going to say something slightly controversial and I think probably offensive to JP, which is that you don't have to put the expansion on the table.
Yeah.
Well, it is totally ripe for that because the boxes do need to stay separate. So you're right, Adrian, I could just choose to not play.
How rude.
But
would you get Curly to play it now without the expansion?
That's exactly it.
That's the problem.
My question was, you've now played it with the expansion. You think, you know what, I kind of preferred it as the chill experience without it, but will it get to the table?
No.
Because will now anyone play it with you?
No.
And without it?
No.
Interesting.
Probably not.
So now the game that you knew and loved is gone.
It has in
a weird way.
I mean, I think it's still
for certain people.
Yeah. It's still a game I can trot out with some friends that aren't gamers, and it's easy enough for everybody to understand. Again, it's not super high stakes. It's very obvious, so that's cool. So I think I'll still get to play it with maybe some girlfriends who aren't gamers, or I can't think of any other time I might play it. Thanks, T. Yeah, but you're going to want to play the good version.
No, I wouldn't actually.
Oh, all right, cool. But I am gonna miss the.
Sorry, it's the way you.
I do want to play the good version, not the shit one.
The mindset is already that with the expansion is the good version.
Well, but it is with the expansion is the better game. It fundamentally is a better game now.
For bigger gamers, Becky, it's not necessarily the better game for everyone. People always have the same opinion as you. The fact that it's simpler is better.
Head versus heart. Right, kind of thing. You know, you think logically this makes sense and it is better, and I know it's better, but I'd enjoy it how it was.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I enjoyed just basic.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'd say Barron Park, the Grizzly Bears,
Bad News Bears,
whatever they're called.
Yeah,
doesn't interest me.
I still haven't played the Bad News Bear expansion. It's still sat on my shelf.
Or what I've now sold off.
You've sold yours.
Need to play it.
But I had it on the shelf for ages, knowing that I didn't want the expansion because it was going to make it more of an experience, but I didn't want that out of the game.
That's exactly it. That's exactly how I felt about Dog Park New Tricks. And I hope, you know, if the designers are listening, it's a brilliant expansion. You've done a fantastic job with this. You have improved it monumentally by only adding a very couple of little extra steps that are very, very easy to understand and totally mesh in beautifully with the game.
As we're talking to designers, I still think they should have put a dog poo thing in it. So the dog's poo in the park and you get negative EPs if you don't pick it up.
Yeah,
That would have been quite a cool mechanic.
Makes sense.
Makes sense because that's a big thing about walking
And you
dogs.
use a stock of poo bags. And if you don't,
you don't.
I've
That
got
could be a great mechanic or an expansion for it. I'm sorry, but it
and,
could be.
and you've got to go and ask people for poo bags and have the shame of going, have you got a
Maybe if
poo
you-
bag? You haven't got one.
you're going to hang it from the tree or whatever. What are they going to call the third edition then? Like the dog shit edition?
Right, you could- pick up your poo. Like something like that. I don't know.
Dog shit expansion. Oh, this is
Actually,
going
pretty
in.
good name for
This
it.
is going
really.
in. Oh. Yeah, there you go, Birdwood Games. That's
There we go, yeah.
that
No,
is,
but
that is
I
your,
know, and I've still yet to do the jigsaw puzzle, so I'm really looking forward to doing that.
Nice,
Because it's a great. I really love the game. I love everything about that game, and I even love the expansion. It is better, but I've just got that little soft spot for the Billy Basic.
yeah.
Just
Fair.
Give the expansion someone's dog to chew through it, and then you've had a real life dog experience out
That's
of it, and
true.
you Curly can't ever say, "I'm not playing it now because that's not the expansion." You don't own the expansion. I think you've covered the what have you gained out of this as well, because you've learned that you don't need the expansion in things.
no, I'll never learn that.
And
I'm in
then-
JP's park for this. More stuff,
More
more shinies.
stuff.
Yep.
Makes it better.
Go on then, Mr. Betterer, JP.
Hello. I actually struggle for this a little bit. Because secret listeners, I wasn't actually going to be on this episode tonight, but you've got me, so there you go. But the game that kind of springs to mind is Septima.
Oh my god.
I know, Becky. I'm not going to look at Becky as I talk because she'll peer into my soul. So Septima is a game. I played the prototype, God, I don't know, nearly 2 years ago. So I had the fortunate experience to play that and I had a really good time with it. I thought, yeah, this is really good, really crunchy. And the more I've played the base, and I'm classing the base game as the standard game with the ritual track and the right
advanced side,
the
not
advanced
the
side, yeah. So when I say base, that's what I mean. I don't mean without all of that. So the more I've kind of played it, there's just something not quite hitting the mark for me. Don't know what it is, and I'm like, it's Mindclash. I'm going to love this because I'm like a big Mindclash fan, as you know. So I kind of like to own every Mindclash game possible where I can. And yeah, just the more I played it, the more just like, I don't know, just something not quite right. It's a bit, I don't know, it felt one note. It felt a bit procedural. You go for a round, you play the cards. End of the round, you get your cards back. You play the second round, play some more cards, collect some bits, brew and potions, do it. And no, it just, I don't know, there wasn't enough going on, I think, for me, personally. And to the point where I was like, you know what? I had a kind of one final moment. I put an event up in the group. I thought, I'm going to give this one more shot. If it doesn't grip me, then that's it. I'm just going to move it on. It's not for me. And the one little module expansion, talking about expansions, I thought I need to try it with that before I kind of make my kind of full decision, was the Shapeshifters and Omens expansion. And I thought, right, let's go all in, see how I feel. Let's try it out. And actually, when I played it with that, my kind of opinions changed a little bit on it. And it's solely down to the Shapeshifters part of that expansion. The Omens I could take or leave. The Omens are like event cards that you just put in, do a thing, depending on how much suspicion that you kind of raise between you as a group will depend on whether it's the dark side or the light side of the Omen card that gets triggered. So there's a bit of like, oh, do we all want to incentivize to be good or bad, or do I not care? Unless you Tambo, you didn't give a shit. He was like, yeah, suspicion, literally one from top, right?
Yeah. Oh,
you hovered one from top.
Or halfway for all the game, one from top.
Yeah, one from, you just
a dodgy
But it's
character.
I think you'll
aren't
explain it in a minute, but it's a lot harder to get rid of suspicion with shapeshifters.
And I think that in the base game, suspicion is quite easily managed, in my opinion. You can mess
play
up.
Chant, right? The Chant card is the one.
You could, easily kind of just keep it at bay. And for those that don't really know, suspicion is just kind of a track that you manage. So the that you match with Septima or match with other players when you play the cards, i.e. the same card, you're kind of being a bit more noticeable by the witch hunters that are kind of circling the board and they're going to jump on you.
I've noticed a lot of people are picking mushrooms today. What's going on?
What's going on over there? Why are you using a lot of magic? All that kind of nonsense. So in the shapeshifters, what it does to flip the game on its head a little bit is you can no longer get your cards back at the end of the round. So the only way you get your cards back from the discard pile is playing the shapeshifter card and ideally turning into one of the 2 little animals that you get.
Is that between actual seasons then? So you don't pick
Correct.
all your... Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you're an animal, which you can choose at the end of your turn to morph back into human form, but when you're an animal, you can only have access to 4 action cards. So depending on which one you pick, one of them has a special ability, but also limits what you do. But every time you don't match as an animal, you reduce suspicion. So it's kind of like, it's just added a little layer to the game, which is not now. I just go through the motions, play the season, get my cards back, do the same, rinse, repeat. For me now, you've got to think, when do I shapeshift? When do I get my cards back? Which ones do I want? So it just adds another layer. So I've gone kind of on a weird loop-the-loop journey with this game. And I'm not saying I've fully made my mind up yet, because I've only played one game with the expansion. And it might be I play it a few more times and I've gone, I'm done with it. But I don't know, for me, like going in with a Mindclash, and I'm like, is this the one that I'm going to have to get rid of? Because I've really liked most of them. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of felt, I don't know, I feel bad. I kind of feel bad.
I feel bad for not liking a game.
Yeah, a Mindclash
Does it? It's
game.
Mindclash,
Yeah, for me. It's like, I like them all, don't I? Surely I like all the games that they do. It's just, weird. It's my, enter into my psyche here. It's a bit like Chip Theory. Like, I've not found one that I hate. It's going to happen because naturally, the more games you put out, I'm not going to love them all, right? It's just the way it is. So yeah, when you kind of have one of your favourite publishers and you just think, man, that was not quite for me. I don't know, it just made me feel bad.
I think it's interesting because the Shapeshifters, yes, it is an expansion, but it does come with the base. It's not like you've got to play that for ages and then you've got to go out and buy your Shapeshifter expansion. It's part of the game.
I don't know, actually, because for the Kickstarter deluxe versions, I think it's in.
Okay.
But it might not be in retail.
When I bought
Fact check this, people, because
when
I don't know.
When I bought it at Essen.
You bought the Kickstarter version.
Oh, did I? I see.
Yours is the deluxe version, same as mine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it depends, because I've seen some people online with the socials, they've got like a separate box for the shapeshifters and omens. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it might not be
We're
there.
going back to the same way, aren't we? So when you play Septima on its own, it's a think tank, but when you put the shapeshifter, it makes a bigger think tank.
Yeah, and again, you might have the same response to this,
Exactly.
I probably will, yeah.
which is I quite like Septima how it is. And there's nothing wrong with it as a game, personally. Like it's fine, but I don't know. For me, it's missing something. So it's kind of like, I think, and shelf space is a commodity.
And
I can't own
big
everything.
Old box as well.
And it's huge. And it's kind of like, I've had fun playing it. It's been great. But it kind of needs to do something more for me to keep it.
It does have that dice chance that you don't like. That can ruin
Yeah,
your game.
well, they have made this more, have got deterministic variants now on BGG.
Oh, you did say this before we played, didn't you? We didn't do it, did we?
Yeah, and it's, to be honest, the dice rolling I'm all right with. It's the bag pulling of the crowd.
Meatballs. Yeah. There you go.
I need to get my guys in the chamber. No. I put 5 in. Where are they? No, red. Great.
I like it.
Yeah, it is what it is. But at least they've done deterministic variants on it. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about Scepter in great detail. No. It is what it is. But it's more about the feel bad moment, I think.
Yeah. But it's kind of come back round for you at least then.
For the moment.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. It's like the positive out of it was, well, I thought I was going to get rid of a game. Tried all of it. Actually made it more interesting.
Gave it a 6th chance. And
yeah.
There you go.
Well, even if you do get rid of it, mate, it'll still be around my house. So
exactly.
If you need to borrow it at any point, it's
there. It's there, isn't it?
Yeah. How about you then, Adrian? What's your...
So I'm about to talk about an entire designer here. So I don't think I've been too vocal or too quiet about it, but I was... Over lockdown, I created a list of designers that I really wanted to try, like a good portion of their games. And top of that list was Uwe Rosenberg. And I knew that I didn't like Feast for Odin going in. Just wasn't going to be a game that I enjoyed. I'd watched other people play it. wasn't going to be for me. But I genuinely thought, based on videos I'd watched and feedback I'd seen, that Uwe Rosenberg could be my guy, my designer. And he's not. Is the short story of it.
Right, let's move on.
So we played. So it's all started off where we talked about, well, let's get an Uwe Rosenberg episode in, and I've put up one of my ideas. I'd like to do an Uwe Rosenberg episode, and Davey was keen, and so were you, Becky. I know, and I think JP, you were kind of in on it as well. As be nice to do that as well. And I was like, but I've only played like half a game of Uwe, and I'd need to play more and probably more of his sort of standard Euro games to actually really say anything on that episode. So you guys created the episode, and I think there's sort of at that point you played like 5 or 6 different ones, but you've played loads more since then, definitely. And what did we play first? We played Agricola, and I didn't enjoy that because there was like the predetermined seasons that aren't actually predetermined, but you need to know the game from start to finish to know what to do in that game.
Same as Caverna and the way it works.
And I just didn't enjoy that process at all. It felt like you had to have at least one go where you just didn't really know what you were doing. You didn't know the flow of the game. And it's not like a Lacerda where you can still see the flow of the game very quickly. You can't see the flow of the game until the end of the game, pretty much.
Your first game is crap.
Yeah. And I didn't like that. And then we played... Oh, and then in that it also had the thing that I think is the main reason why I don't like Uwe games, which is that it has just lots of very different cards with bits of text on them.
Yeah.
There's no symbology that ties it all together. Quite often these cards are quite wordy, or you don't see where they fit in until you've played half the game. And I was like, oh man, I'm just not loving this. And then we played Aura Labora, and that was the same. There's just lots of different cards with just... I don't know how this is really going to affect the game until I've played it a couple of times. And I had Nussfield on the shelf, and I was like, because that was the one to me that looked like the most likely for me to sort of fall in love with. That was fine. Again, just lots of cards with random bits of information on. I played Glass Road, that was okay. Didn't mind that too much. And I've played Ottawa since, which is definitely my favourite of his designs, which I think is also controversial because most people seem to not think that's as an Uwe game as the rest. But that's probably why I like it, is that it's not as Uwe as the rest. And so I've kind of, having gone on this sort of journey where I'm like, right, I'm going to work through designers, or like try and make sure I play 2 or 3 designs from each designer that I really like. So I've gone from that to straight away, like, this is the one on the top of the list. Don't have much love for, and I'm not excited by any games of his anymore. Like you've talked about Hallertau before, JP, and there's no interest for me to want to play it now.
What, crop rotation?
Yeah, but I don't mind that. I genuinely, that is not what puts me off of it. In fact, I was like, you know what, a bit of beige Euro sounds all right. I can deal with that. But yeah, it's just kind of left me feeling really left me feeling quite disappointed generally. That I'd spent so much time on a designer that I think after 2 games I knew probably wasn't me, but I was so determined to see if there was something in his collection.
I think that shows that you kind of you're not going to write it off after the first game. So I think it's
commendable.
Yeah, it's in your favour that you really did try a few different games to go, I really want to like this, and you didn't just play one round of one game and go, oh, this is it, crap, I don't like any of it.
But I think there's 2 things I took away from that. One is that I really detest lots of individual cards with text on them. I don't mind lots of individual cards, but they need to be summed up by 1 or 2 pieces of iconography, just symbols, and then I think that's okay, because if you can, you're at most going to put probably 10 symbols into a game. You're not going to put many more than that. And so I think that limits how many like variations you're going to see. Even if it's like 3 of these turn into 2 of those, fine, I can deal with that. But actually I've noticed that I think I probably wouldn't get into Dominion as hard as I did when I was younger, because of how many text cards there are just with text on them sort of in the game. And then the other thing is that I've actually looked at other designers. So Stefan Feld, I've only played a couple of the games from Stefan Feld, but I've loved the design so much that I'm now like, right now I have to deep dive into their games. And I've looked, I think I've generally paid more attention. I already always paid a bit of attention to designers, but I think I'm now paying more attention to who's designing games and noticing sort of themes in the games they're designing. So yes, that's my little journey on Uwe. Thought I was going to love him, didn't. Got something out of it.
Well, you found a little, I was going to say happy ending, but that's probably not what I meant. But, you found a light at the end of the tunnel, shall we say.
Absolutely.
And that's fine, isn't it? I think it's quite nice when you go on an exploration with designers. And I did the same with Uwe, but I've kind of gone on the other side of it where I've really enjoyed a lot of his games. Some of them less so. Some of them actually really surprised me. It's funny you said about the cards, because even in Hallertau, actually, it doesn't have text, really. They've got rid of it. And I can appreciate that in Agricola. It's like reading, not essays, it's probably a bit harsh, but there's a lot to take in on those first plays. It's like, here's 14 cards that you've got. I've no idea how these all work together, where they would go in, etc. So
back round to Tambo then.
I'll go a quick one then. As you mentioned, Uwe, I played Hallertau with JP and Curly the other night. And so when JP brought it to the Game Expo last year, we played it, me and my brother. Mm-hmm. That's the first time we put it. And I loved it. I thought it was great. You're doing all these card combos. And I thought it was great. It's growing crops. I do like that aspect in the game. So I really enjoyed the game. I'm not sure if I won. I can't remember. But I had a good score. And so my expectation on this was that I'm going to love it. But then this time, I didn't get any cards. So it's obviously a luck-based card. And I realised if you don't get some good card combos and you draw on the map, you're just stuck. You can't do anything. And I think Davey doubled my score.
Yeah, he did really
and
well.
it's just disheartening after that. I went to your house the other day. I had a horrible game of Hallertau last night. And I didn't realise there's that big gap. I don't mind games where you kind of go in between. But that was a bit of a whitewash. And I had like a turn. And then went to around JP and he was like, oh, do this with this card, do this. And I'm doing this. And I was like, well, mine are so hard to get. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Didn't synergize with each other.
No, at all.
You want to feel competitive, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you lose by a little bit.
Yeah.
You just want to feel like you competed. You gave people a bit of a run for their money at least. And if you don't kind of get that feeling out of it, it can be a bit...
That's it. Well, I had such a good feeling the first time I played it. I thought, it's going to be a great game, second game. And it was just like, no. But it doesn't mean I won't play it again. I will, but it was just that expectation of it. I thought I'm going to love it again, and this actually I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it that turn.
Yeah,
so I think you'll have a third game maybe just to see. But I don't know,
a tiebreaker or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. But then if I find out I get a bad score again, I think that's it. But
I think it's like, were you super unlucky? Is it? And I've heard that about that particular game is, it can, feel like that. You get a certain set of cards that were just randomly dealt to you, and you're like, well, they don't really clock off each other, or you just got what you got, and you're trying to, make the most of it. You can always draw more cards, but you don't know what you're getting. No. It's not like you can pick out of a shop or anything. You get what you get and make the best of it. And workers are a commodity in that game, like every Euro game. But generally, you don't want to be using them all the time to draw more freaking cards to do something.
Maybe I didn't do that enough, but it was
But also, the opposite side in that game is that you can end up going down some rabbit holes because your cards are going, go down here, and you're losing the objective of actually what you're trying to do. So there can be a real big distraction as well in that game too.
I think I had a bit of that when I played Scythe for the first time the other day. I hadn't played it before, so I didn't really have a clue what the point of anything particular was. And I just thought, right, well, one of my objectives is get loads of resources on one hex. So I just went down that route, and it was basically rubbish. It didn't, like, everyone else was upgrading everything, and I was just focusing on get some oil, get some whatever. So that kind of, I think I would probably enjoy the game the second time I played it, but I'm at absolutely no rush to play that again. And I'm sure you probably feel the same about Hallertau, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. I think I would play it again.
I would play Scythe again, but
because you were looking forward to that, Bex.
I was, I really wanted to experience it because I like a lot of Stone My games. And Scythe was the one that Curly had said I probably would like the least because it's about, people on a map spread out, area control, which isn't normally my thing. But I could see the appeal of it. I can. I'm just not interested. I'm just not interested, which is a shame because I wanted to really like that because I know that it's got a lot of. People have got a lot of really good things to say about it. Yeah. Dan's a real fan, and he, goes on about how great it is, and I can see why it would be. I just didn't enjoy it. Maybe that was because it was my first run through. I don't know, but
C'est la vie.
I would play it again. I would.
Yeah.
I would.
Okay.
But just not if I've got any other options to play any other games.
Yeah, definitely lower down the preference.
It 100% is. Yeah.
Fair enough. So is that counting as yours as
Well,
well?
no, I do have
okay.
which is a game I really liked. So my other kind of sort of disappointed hexpectation, Earth. Now I like it. This is not why I'm bringing it to the table. I've already backed the abundance expansion. Yeah, Curly doesn't like it, which really surprised me. Really surprised me.
I know he said it was a 7 out of 10 is what he classed it as.
He's never wanted to play it since.
And he's not bothered anymore.
Nope.
It's fallen off.
Yep. I don't think.
I was wondering why he got a table again.
Yeah, he's just not interested. If everyone else is interested, great. I'll put up a thing because
I'll try it again.
Play it. Oh, right.
I'll play it.
Yeah.
I don't hate
I've only
it. It's
played
not
it
my
once. I want
favourite.
to try it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a lot more complicated than I think. It can be played a lot more complicatedly, or a lot more kind of with a lot more nuance than I can play. I don't think about, the is this next to that? I'm just looking at the pictures. I'm not going to lie, and I like it. I like the game.
Dog park.
But that's why I thought. Shut up. That's why I thought Curly was really going to like it, because you can really super combo max this to the absolute nth degree. So I thought he'd be all over this. Like, you can make your little, this farms off of this, that does this, and out of one turn you can get everything. But he's just not bothered. I don't know what it is about it specifically that he doesn't like, but he's just like,
Because it's not on Mars.
Well,
Yeah. So your expectation on Earth was you thought Curly would love it.
Curly was going to really love it.
Get it.
And we were super excited to buy it. And, I remember not pushing in the queue to get it. We were super excited about it. But, yeah, he played it and was like, and I was really surprised because I thought it would be right up his street.
I'm surprised because I think it's quite similar to Terraforming Mars. I don't think it's quite as grandiose as Terraforming Mars, but
no.
That's why I like it. But I think it has a lot in common with Terraforming Mars, and that's why I'm surprised.
This feeds off of this, off of this. Yeah, absolutely.
I remember when you were explaining it when you first played it, you told a group all about it, and it sounded really great and exciting. I thought that sounds a really good game, and it is. I've played it once.
Yeah, I really like it. I mean, I don't spend enough time really deciding where I'm going to put each particular card, which makes a massive difference. So I normally get trounced in it, but I don't care because I like the game and building the little, your little
sprouts.
Well, the little green sprouts, which I've now changed for little glass.
Of course
sprouty.
you have.
Of course I have. But the
you're not got the new in the expansion. You're not going for the upgraded.
So expensive.
Are they really?
Really expensive.
Really expensive. I just couldn't.
It looks like Super Mario world when you look at.
I know. I really liked it, but I just couldn't justify it.
That's fair.
If Curly had really liked it, that
done it.
might have just pushed me over the edge to buy the super sexy swanky bits. But he just doesn't. So I know it isn't going to get to our table that often. So I'm just stuck with it.
It's disappointing, isn't it? I think because obviously you two, husband and wife, live together, and actually finding a game that you both really enjoy, that you both get something out of, which I know, honestly, might be a challenge because Curly likes on the heavier end, not too far, because then he's like, no, thank you. And then I think for yourself, Becky, you like the more lighter end of the scale, right, in terms of the game. So trying to find that balance between you, I
thought Earth was going to fit in that category. So we've played an absolute boatload of Ark Nova, the base version on Board Game Arena, and he's still beating me almost every time. But I'm still pleased with my game. I'm still pleased with how I performed in it. And I thought Earth could be another one of those. I will gradually get better as I kind of snoop on what he's doing and figure out where I didn't get a load of points where he did, which is what kind of happens in Ark Nova with us, to be honest. But I thought Earth was going to be that game. Well, but it's not.
Yeah. Sounds like we got us four that would play it. Yeah. So I definitely would play it
let's
again.
Let's play it then.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
It's Curly that's wrong.
That's it. Yeah, 4 against 1. Yeah. No, I'll put it in the game group then, because I would like to play it more.
Do it. Do it.
I will do it.
Nice. JP.
Yes, back on the couch. Mine's going to be very quick, and I am now come to the realization that I don't care about campaign games anymore. It kind of makes me feel a bit sad. And it's basically the last campaign game that I played was ISS Vanguard. Really, when I got that, I was so excited about it. Mass Effect, the board game kind of vibe. Love Mass Effect, playing it on the Xbox. Love sci-fi, space, exploration. Had it all.
And you guys were so excited about it.
Yeah,
oh my
like
God, you were so excited. All of you were just like, "Oh,
this is so awesome!" Yeah, like it just felt like, oh, you in there. You all had a department or a section who was in, that you're in charge of, and you had little dudes in there that you kind of hired in, and the whole ship management phase, which I thought might be a bit admin, but was quite.
You love admin.
No,
Don't pretend that's a bad thing for you.
You're right. But it had a lot of the XCOM video game feel of building your base up and researching and doing all that. And it was actually really well done, the way they've done it. And I think it's an impressive feat what they've achieved with that game. But again, as the games went on, as the weeks went on, the excitement starts to wane. Session 8. We've got Vanguard tonight. Do you know what I mean? It's that feeling of, I just can't be arsed. And it's really annoying. And I wish I wasn't like that. And I've done it with Gloomhaven. I burnt out on Gloomhaven a lot back in the day. I was running 2 tandem groups because everyone wanted to play it. And that took up quite a lot for months of my life, to the point where I just dreaded. And the setup of it is a bitch. Not as bad as Frosthaven, but still bad. And it was just like, I've got to play Gloomhaven tonight. It's just that, get to that inevitable conclusion with a campaign game, which is I just can't be bothered. Just it's the same thing, grinding away, doing the same stuff, and maybe I'm not that invested in the story. I don't know what it is, and maybe if I played it solo and I kind of could blitz it a bit more, I might be more invested in the narrative. But I kind of just going for the motions with it, and I just thought, you know what, campaign games aren't for me. I think I've just come to that realization.
I think I've got to say as well, we're not a campaign group. Not really.
No, we're more one-shot games.
Or short campaign groups, if we can get a short one.
That's true. So I'm not saying I write them off completely, but any kind of game that's requiring 20 sessions out of you, I'm just like, nah, I'm done. And even though I get tempted and I look at some crowdfunding, oh, that looks good. And you think, oh, that'd be amazing, yeah. And you kind of have that fantasy moment of, it'd be great, and everyone comes around and we're all going to experience this thing together. And then obviously the logistics of, is everyone free 2 weeks on Thursday? No, I can't do 2 weeks on Thursday. Oh, great. Okay, we're going to have to bounce that back another week. And then you've been playing it 9 months and you're not even a third of the way through. You just think, I can't be asked.
It's just such a commitment, isn't it? And it's also, if you've got a group of 4 of you and it's a game that really needs 4 players, if you're not feeling it, you then get a bit sort of like, I need to keep playing this because otherwise it doesn't continue.
Yeah.
And what happens if others are enjoying it? And quite often, maybe it's us being British, but my experience of it is no one will put their hands up and say, we're all not enjoying this. And I've had campaign games where it's only like 4 or 5 sort of sessions. And then at the end of it, I'm just like, how's everyone feeling about that? It was all right. And you're like, oh, so we all felt like it was all right, but actually no one said anything. So we just continued to grind through this game that we weren't feeling great about.
I suppose it depends how your board game group is made. Is like the component part. So we are quite ad hoc with the games we put in.
Yeah.
We don't have a particular set game night. So if you always had Friday night game night or whatever, maybe it's easier for campaigns. But you're right, Adrian. If one person isn't feeling it, you then feel either bad if
obligated
you go,
as well.
Yeah, and then as soon as you're obligated, it's a chore, isn't it? I'm the same. Even if it's something I loved doing, like when I've been in bands in the past and stuff, it's like, oh, it's called band night tonight. You think, oh God, it's band night. Even though I loved it when I was doing it, and anything that is a set day, this is always happening on Tuesday or whatever. So that's a chore then to me, and I don't want to do it. Even if I love doing it, in my brain, it's turned into an obligation. Not interested now.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Vanguard's a bad game at all. It's not. It's fantastic, and I think it's well produced. And I know there's groups out there that are absolutely having a blast with it, and I can completely understand why. But yeah, I think you're right, Tambo. Maybe in our group, we don't tend to stick at campaign games. Not
I think
really.
we've all had the same as you, JP. It's like you had the Gloomhaven, and it just kind of went, that's a bit of a chore now. And then and then Vanguard came up again, brilliant at the beginning. Yeah, but then it just got a bit too much, didn't it? And it was like,
that's it. It's the way it goes. So
I thought I'd be a really big campaign person, but I'm not up about campaigns.
No. Weird, isn't it?
I love the idea of the storyline of it. Like, I actually really enjoyed the King's Dilemma. Really, really enjoyed that. But it fell off the boil, didn't it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed King's Dilemma. It was
great.
But it just, again...
It's one I really wanted to play. That was on the top of my list for a long time.
Yeah, there's just always something else you'd rather play, isn't there?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it works.
On the leaderboard of, games that I need to get to the table.
Yeah.
It's just... They get in, don't they? They get in, push it down.
See, the most luck I have is 2-player campaign, because I meet up with quite often the same person on a Sunday, got a few hours together or something along those lines. And if you turn up, you put out Marvel Champions or Pandemic Legacy or whatever kind of campaigny back-to-back Hogwarts battle, whatever it is, you put that out. And if you're really feeling it, you keep pushing through for 4 or 5 hours, you'll get through a couple of episodes or a couple of missions or whatever. If you're not, you just kind of put it down and then, okay, fine, we'll move on to something else. And I find that quite a refreshing way to go, because when you're really feeling it, it means you can go through it in 2 or 3 Sundays. Whereas if you're not, you still might feel like, oh, we should play this, but actually you can kind of spread it out a little bit more and do that. And so that's the most success I've had with campaign games, is just doing 2-player ones where you know the person's turning up on a Sunday or a Saturday or whatever it is. And then you kind of, you know the deal between you. You've got that little pact between you of, if we're feeling this, we'll just say it and we'll keep going. And if we're not feeling it, one of us says. And then you just kind of have that one game and then move on to something else for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I mean, the one caveat to what I'm saying is there is one game that's coming out, whether it's a campaign game or not. Well, I'll let you guys be the judge of it, but it's Elder Scrolls from Chip Theory. Right, and it's kind of a campaign game, but it's only 3 sessions.
Yeah.
So it's like you play, the beginning, the middle, and the end. 3 sessions, and that arc is done. Reset, new character, new skills, off you go. So it kind of gives you that too many bones, one-shot experience, but adds a little bit more depth to it, and feel like that you're progressing and leveling up and doing all those kind of things. So that I am intrigued by, and Rob's back this, thank God, saved me a few quid. Thanks, Rob. And that's the only one I'm kind of like, I think that might work, because 3 games is not
It's a short campaign.
Massive commitment. You can kind of get that done in 3 weeks if you just put 3 sessions in, done. And then you're not obligated to then stick around for another 10 years, are you? So there we go. Okay. What about you, buddy?
So I'll try and make my one fairly quick as well, but it's something we've already kind of touched on, both in mine and yours, JP, I think, which is, before I started with this group, I knew who publishers were, I knew who designers were, but I'd never felt the need, so this is all your fault, guys, I'd never felt the need to have like my designer or my publisher, the one that I get excited about every time something comes out. And there's quite a few people in our group that have that. They have a designer which every time something comes out from them, they must look at it. Or every time something publisher produces, they're straight on that website and having a look at it. And
I don't know what you mean.
It wasn't something I'd experienced before in board games, or maybe I just sort of, because I was sort of jumping between groups, I hadn't really seen it as much. And then sort of joined this group, and I'd already started the sort of journey of, let's go and have a look at loads of different designers and see what they do. And I kind of just want to experience a couple from each of them, sort of thing. But I feel like in the last couple of years, I've been really searching for that publisher, or I've been really searching for that designer that, they're knocking it out of the park 9 times out of 10. And I don't know that I've found it still, which I find just quite deflating and a bit disappointing. There's definitely designers, because we were talking about it while it was raining and we were trying to let the rain pass, but there's definitely designers and publishers that I look at more, but none of them are like my go-to designer or my go-to publisher. There's just ones that are Devere quite often produce games that I like, but they don't knock it out of the park every time. Arcane Wonders is another one, and and I've talked about Stefan Feld as well, from a designer point of view. But it's left me feeling, and I feel like I'm slightly getting over it now, but it left me for quite a while feeling a bit sort of lost at sea for something that I didn't care about before.
You just wanted to love something as much as JP loves Chip Theory, right? You wanted that love.
It's not possible, mate.
It's like he's found religion and you're just still searching for it.
But it's like, Lacerda's and Mindclash and Uwe for some of you, and all that. I've seen people, like different people in the group really, really look at certain publishers or certain designers and get really into them. And I've just never, I liked half of all Lacerda's, and I've liked less than half of Mindclash or less than half of Stonemeyer. And I've really enjoyed some of them, but I've not found my everything they produce is gold, or like 9 out of 10 of what they produce is gold. And it left me strangely empty and sort of feeling a bit lost at sea. But I'm feeling a bit better now because like I feel like I've got over it a little bit, but I'm still feel like I'm searching a little bit to find that right fit for me. And yeah, I've definitely found, you know, as we've sort of gained more experience doing this and going to the conventions as well, because I didn't go to conventions before, definitely found that I've noticed that my sort of all these tend to do pretty good, or they'll have a few that I enjoy, but yeah, just haven't found it quite sort of
demoralizing.
Yeah, a little bit deflating sort of thing.
It's like there must be a corner of the hobby that is mine.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There must be a safe space, a homely place that like every time I go on their website, I'm like, oh, and as I say, there's some that probably the closest I feel I'm going to get to, but none the way that sort of yourself or Davey or some of the other group have kind of found their like Dan and Stonemeyer and all that kind, like they've really found their home, their place to look every time there is an announcement from that publisher, they're just 0 to 100 super excited. I'm like, I'll give them a look because they do produce some good games that I enjoy, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's like it's brand advocation, isn't it? It's like, and it's not just in board gaming. There are certain brands that I'm sure we could all affiliate with, or feel like they just speak to you, or they just sing. You know, you're tuned in on what they're delivering. That's just completely what you're about, your vibe or whatever. And that's, you know, with me, I'm fortunate there's a few publishers that I'm just tuned into. Like, I am excited. I'm not going to name them, you know who they are, but I'm excited when they announce any announcements. I'm excited when, you know, there's a new game and it's crowdfunding. Ooh, what's that? Just anything they put out, I'm like, I will check that out, because they haven't, not always, they don't always get it right, but generally, like you say, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to enjoy this. It's going to be a really great experience, and some of the best games that I own, I'll buy them. So yeah, I get why you feel that way.
Yeah. It's just odd, and to say before I started this group, not trying to claim ownership here, but before
It's a coup.
But yeah, before I joined this group, it wasn't something that had sort of occurred to me. Almost, it wasn't something that I was like, and then, you know, and when you watch YouTube a little bit more and with this group and stuff out, I've realised that I think it's more common than I was aware of, and now I feel like I need one. Like it's.
You don't.
And I think that's it. I think I don't. And I think I've started to realise that and started to be comfortable with the fact that there are publishers out there that generally, you know, they're producing good stuff, and I like a good portion of their games. They're just not my be all and end all sort of thing. Like I think some people have.
I think that's probably quite good, because can you imagine if Chip Theory brought out a game and JP thought it was crap?
It's going to happen.
Can you imagine what that'd do to his little soul?
It would crush me.
It would crush, exactly. So I think having an affiliation with something that strongly can be a downside, can't it?
Well, it's that Septima thing earlier, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I felt bad is like, is this the game I'm going to let go? And I let go of Cerebria. And I don't think Cerebria, in my opinion, is not a bad game. I just wasn't going to get it to the table. So it's kind of like, I enjoy it and I'll play it. Like if someone said, do you fancy a game? Yeah, go for it. But it just wasn't going to hit the table. It was just going to sit on a shelf. And I thought, no, let it go. But yeah, it's that. I don't know, it didn't crush your soul. It's probably getting a bit too heavy.
No, it would crush your soul, mate. If Chip Theory brought something out and you didn't like it, you'd be really sad.
Well, weirdly, like some of the directions that they're going now, I am less interested in. Yeah, some of the, you know, like the latest one with Roth. I've played it. It wasn't like, oh my god, I've got to own it. And it was the first game that I kind of said, no, I don't need to own that. That's fine.
Talk like that and you'll lose your sponsorship.
I know. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they are turning into a different direction that I'm not as super hyped. Or maybe me.
Direction.
It possibly.
It's not you, it's me.
Yeah. It's time for us to...
We've all heard that, haven't we? Come on.
We'll always have Paris. Or Essen. But there we go. But now it's an interesting topic, that.
We'll call it there. Now we've all had our board game therapy and hopefully feeling a little bit better about it.
Always.
But if you've had board game hexpectations that have not been met, or just, a bit of sort of, well, that wasn't quite what I expected, please leave us a comment on our socials somewhere. We'd like to hear about them.
Definitely.
We had a couple last time we did this episode. We've heard from a few people about their sort of board game letdowns or not living up to expectations, and I found them fascinating. So please feel free to add some comments or get in touch with us on socials. Much appreciated. So that brings us on to our next section, which is Would You Rather? So, as we've realised here, talking things through can be quite important. So in this episode's would you rather everyone around the board game table told you everything they were doing on every turn, or people just took all their moves really quickly and didn't say what they were up to?
I think
Go on, Tambo.
Yeah, go on, T.
I reckon I would like people to talk through their turns, because when I play games, lose track who turn it is.
Yeah.
So if everyone talks between their turns, I know exactly where we are around the table.
Yeah.
Because you know where we are. So every time I go, it's like, whose turn is it? And they go, oh, right, okay, so I didn't realise, because I just switch off a little bit sometimes when it's in between turns. So if everyone's talking through their turns, I know exactly where it's coming back to me.
So when you say talking through is it just literally talking through the turns, or is it literally just talking through anything that's on their mind at the time as well?
No. Like, I could go there and do this, but then, I wouldn't have enough coins for that. So maybe I should go over here.
Logical process.
Yeah, so they're talking through exactly what they're thinking of doing and what they're doing on their turn. Not necessarily during your turn as well, but just on their turn, they're talking through their logical process of why they're doing what they're doing, or maybe...
I think I do this anyway.
A little bit, but like what I'm saying is every single time or every turn, they never say a word. They just move things around the board and then just point at you to have your turn. Which of those would you like? You can still people can still have conversation and still social. I'm not saying everyone has to be completely quiet. Just they either don't mention what's happening on their turn or they're talking it completely through. I'm glad I've stumped you with this one because I took a while to think
I'm
of this
still
one.
with it. Completely talk, because I actually get quite a little frustrated when someone's doing all this stuff and they're not speaking for anything, thinking, are they doing anything right? Are they breaking the rules a little bit here? Are they actually doing it right?
Oh, so yours is from like a paranoid...
Rules lawyer.
Okay, so you'd like... So I'm...
Some sort of talk. I don't really want the whole conversation. Great, but but if you have to have the whole conversation, then I'll still go with that. Yeah.
I don't know, because I find... I would probably learn stuff from when people, like I'd learn their process. So I'd learn kind of like, I hadn't thought about weighing up that thing or this thing. However, hearing someone's internal monologue all the time. Oh, Christ, I don't know.
Shall I go here? Shall I go there? If I go there, I get the coins, and then I can get the coins, and then I can use that to get the wood.
Yeah, already. I'm like, no, it's the other thing.
But I can't get the coins to get the wood because the wood doesn't. I need the wood to build the house. But no, to get the house, I need to get a shed.
I know that's what I do. So I know that I'm that person, but I find it infuriating having to listen to it from someone else. Is this all just carefully made? So go, Becky, will you just, Christ alive, keep
this is you, Becky.
Turn in.
I think this is just more self-reflection because JP even went, this is what I do.
Do I have to listen to it, or is it just going on in the background?
What is it? You want to have a podcast on in your headphones while it's happening?
No. As in, like I'm just going to ignore what they're saying and just still look at my board, or do I have to be focused on what they're saying?
It's happening.
If you can ignore it, it's a talent you got.
Yeah. Well, I think
can you ignore it?
Yeah, I can ignore some people's mindless
dribble
witterings. Yeah. Because I would learn something, I think I'm going to go with the narrated thought, although I really don't want to. I really don't want to, but I'm going to go for that.
Yeah. I think talk, because, we're playing a board game. It's good if it gets a bit beardy, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like everyone's getting like really super into converting wood into oranges and whatever.
One wood for sheep or whatever.
And actually, I find it just makes the gameplay a bit more open to people around the table if they know what's going on. Partially what you said here about making sure people are doing things right, because we can inadvertently cheat. I do it. Don't do it on purpose, but you can easily...
Yeah, it is easy done,
I do this and do that. How are you doing that? Oh, yeah. God, Christ, I don't know how I'm doing it. So, it catches a lot of that out, so it makes sure the play is right. But also, if people are just silent as they make the moves, it's like I don't want you to notice what I'm doing, and therefore I'm getting ultra competitive, and actually I don't care for that either.
There is a bit of that.
Yeah, I'd rather just play a game and have fun. And if people are deliberating about converting wood to oranges, then I can take the mick out of them. So it's fine.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to add the fourth voice of let's have people talking, and I think mine comes from a similar place to kind of what you mentioned, T, which is that I used to play a lot of Warhammer tournaments and stuff like that, and people would constantly roll handfuls of dice and then just pick up a load of dice, not say what they need. Oh, I need 4s or anything like that. They just roll dice and then pick up numbers, and I'd be like, what did you need there? oh, I needed 5s, and they're already rolling their next handful, and I'm like, I don't think you just picked up 5s. I think you picked up some 4s and some 3s in that, and I think you've cheated, sort of thing. And I think out of that grew this expectation that anytime someone was doing something silently, it was maybe a little bit devious or a little bit. And over time, I got over that. But now I find myself, when I'm teaching new players, the first few rounds, I do it anyway, deliberately, to sort of go, okay, I'm going to go here now. This allows me to do this, and this allows me to do that. And then on their turn, I'll be like, right, phase 1, you're going to draft the cards. Okay, cool. We've all drafted our first one. And I kind of narrate, if anything, a little bit more during sort of first teaches.
Yep.
And I think now I've started doing it more the other way, where I like to see people talk, because I like to see that they're getting the game and they're understanding it and they're on board. But it definitely came out of, originally, that kind of feeling came out of a place of, I think you're not doing what you say you're doing. And again, sometimes it's inadvertent, but certainly in tournaments and stuff like that, there's a lot of cheating can go on.
Yeah.
That where if people think they can get away with it and you don't call them out on it, they will, and they'll just be silent. And I sort of attributed the silence to cheatiness. But no.
It would irritate me though, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
because hearing someone's like I say, I know I do it. Oh, should I do this? Should I do? Oh, hearing that 5 other times that's happening in my own brain. Oh, bloody hell!
Could be even more disheartening as well. Because if it's like me and I go, I just need the wood, and then someone like Davey or Curly go, well, I'm doing this because I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, thinking I should be doing so much better.
It makes you realise that you're operating on a different level. Yeah, I'm the same, mate. I'm the same.
It also potentially builds blows strategy out of the water, right? Because if you're explaining your turn on your turns, there's no keeping secret of if they forget that or whatever, because you're kind of probably talking through that. You know, I'm not saying you'd have to talk through everything, but might give a bit of your game strategy away as well. So I can understand why people don't do that.
Especially like a worker placement or something like
that. Because you don't want to highlight.
You don't want to highlight some.
Now I'm then going to do this.
I'm going to do this ready for next turn sort of thing. Everyone's going to be like, oh, what are you doing next turn?
Yeah, I've got 2 wood and 2 stone, and that means, there's a building there that costs exactly 2 wood and 2 stone, and it's going to give you 7 victory points. Please don't get it.
I'm not saying you have to do that exactly, but there's a potential that as you're talking through your turn, it highlights what you're about to do next.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we've all decided then.
Fairly unanimous decision.
It was unanimous. I had to think about it.
Good question. I like that one.
Yeah, I had to think about it because, equally playing a game silent is not fun either. But there we go.
Depends who you're playing with us.
And now we're on to our penultimate turn, where we talk about what we're looking forward to, what's coming up. So I shall go first, because the big thing we've got coming up is...
Drum roll, please.
Don't drum roll.
I'm not going to.
It's Essen.
No, not yet. That's for later. It's the UK Games Expo.
Woohoo!
So this episode is out on the Wednesday. Most of us are driving on the Thursday to get to the expo, because we're going to be there for the Thursday afternoon-y, evening-y pre-release
preview thing. Yeah.
Doing. But then and a lot of people will be there on the Thursday picking up tickets or booking into hotels. And then Friday's the expo itself. And I think it's fair to say, yet again, another year we're all excited.
Really excited.
Really?
To go.
Yeah.
And then the cherry on that cake, as you will have heard at the start of this episode, most likely, as well as on a lot of our socials if you follow us, is that we have a live episode.
Shock. Do we? What is it, Adrian?
Well, we're hopefully going to know what it is.
Well, we do. We literally talked about it before we recorded, didn't we? But now we can't wait. I know I can't wait, but it's going to be good fun.
It's just a new experience, right?
Yeah,
complete different experience.
Again, like 2 years ago, we started a podcast, sort of little baby steps of like, what can we do and what's it going to be like and all that kind of stuff. And every now and again, you seem to feel like you get a big milestone.
Yeah.
And I felt like last year's expo felt like a big milestone, because we were actually talking to publishers who were keen to talk to us as a bit of a sort of we'd love to sort of be on your show, or please have us on socials, or just want to chat to you about what we've got coming up. And now we've got a live episode where hopefully we're going to have people turn up.
Please turn up.
This is my fear, guys. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I'm going to Expo tomorrow or even Friday, 2 days from now, unless you listen to this after the fact, then this is irrelevant. But if you're listening and 1:30 on the Friday, come, please. Come on. If you can't get in because the queue's so massively long, then I'm sorry. we didn't get a big enough room, and we underplayed it, but what a great experience that would be.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Tell us the location and stuff, JP. Give us the...
Yeah, so Friday the 31st of May, 1:30 to 2:30 in the Dice Room in Piazza 4. And if you go onto the event, which will have a link in the show notes, it'll literally tell you all the details, where it is, when it is. You can add it to your schedule on your UK Games Expo account, so it can kind of remind you and do all sorts of things to plan out your weekend. So yeah, like we would love to just meet some of you guys, hang out with some of you guys, and if you can't physically come on the Friday because you're only coming for the Saturday or Sunday, we will be there, right, Adrian? We're going to be there all weekend.
So please come and stop. Like last year, there's a few people who stopped us and just said hello and love what you do and all that kind of stuff. Please do, and we'll chat with you with whatever you want to talk about.
100%.
Good. And we're kind of throwing the format out a little bit. Our usual sort of 6-turn format is kind of going out the window a little bit in order for us to try and give everyone a little bit of sort of few different episodes, like a feeling of sort of some of the stuff we do, a bit of a wider range than if we just did our normal format. But we're excited for you to see that.
Hopefully it should be some really good fun and a bit of interaction, but if you don't like interaction, you don't have to be, it won't be obvious that you don't want to take part.
It's not forced fun.
No, rules make it fun. No, there will be that you can have a chance to get involved or not, and it is totally fine.
Yeah,
but it would just be really nice to see some people. Would be really good. So we're hoping that people turn up and hoping it all
highlight of the year though, isn't it? Expo is just generally highlight of the year for me.
Is. So this is the reason I'm working. I've not got a day off this week. So Bank Holiday Monday is obviously normally for the UK listeners like a bonus day off. So I was booking the Thursday off.
Oh, nice.
And then realised I hadn't got enough annual leave. I was like, oh dear, I've already booked the rest of it.
Crap.
So therefore I had to kind of take back my day off this week in order to carry it forward so that I can have the Thursday off.
It's always a way back.
Yeah, absolutely. Rejiggled, it was fine.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a really great time to all get together. We had some, probably won't have as much fun in the car as we did when we were going down to Essen. But I don't know, when we went to the Expo, JP, we had some singing.
Just me and you, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had some singing karaoke times, didn't we?
So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Cool.
So what are other people looking forward to very quickly?
I'll go next. So I've recently got the new species for Eclipse Second Dawn. They landed.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And so I've got 2 expansion boxes that has 2 species in there. So I've got 4 new races to play. And we've got a game coming up on the Friday. And I'm looking forward to it. I haven't played Eclipse for ages. And it's all good. It'd be good to kind of get the gang together, play a bit of the game, see what the new stuff's all about, add more variety in there. I'm looking forward to the alliance mode, but now we've got a 4-player game. I don't know whether I'd use it or not because it's probably better for higher player counts. But Eclipse, great.
Yeah,
I'm glad I can't
otherwise, play. Yeah, otherwise I'd be there.
Be more. I'll do some more.
Do another one.
Yeah, 100%.
So when you're talking about publishers and getting excited to buy every time they release, I've actually gone now. I've backed Tiny Epic Game of Thrones.
Me too.
Have you gone all of it?
I think so, yeah.
I think I did, yeah. So yeah, every time Tiny Epics come up, I've got to have a look. So I think I've gone down that road, unfortunately. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
Nice.
Yeah, that is your niche, isn't it? You love the Tiny Epic games.
Yeah, I'm getting into them.
So I'm playing Wormspan soon, which I am very excited about. But the thing I'm thinking about more than anything at the minute is the new courses on Walkabout Golf. Not going to lie.
I'm with you there. Yeah, I'm with you.
It's just so good. I'm just loving it. But I am looking forward to playing Wormspan because I think I've kind of got into my zone a little bit. I've played a few different games with the different dragon guilds and they do change things around a little bit. But I think I'm still better at it than I'm better at it quicker than I have been with other games.
And that brings us to our final turn. Thank you very much for listening. If you know anyone else out there who think might be interested in giving us a listen or might be just interested in hearing about board games and our board game group, please let them know about us. Much appreciated. It's the best way we can get word of mouth out there. Please interact with us on our socials. We love it when you guys comment on our videos or bring up anything we've said in any of these episodes, including correcting us. That's absolutely fine as well. We appreciate that as much as anything else.
We love it.
Love it. Also, a big thank you to our coffee supporters. Hopefully this sounds better than the last few episodes, and that's all through our coffee supporters and what they give, just a few pennies every month. Much appreciated. It really helps with the cost of these things. So with that being said, Whose turn is it anyway?
The couch.
The couch.